This week on ANN, an online stewardship conference draws worldwide participation.
A militant group destroys an Adventist church in northern Nigeria.
And an Adventist church in the US state of California opens its doors to local residents affected by wildfires.
These stories and more coming up.
This is ANN, a service of the Seventh-day Adventist World Church. Thanks so much for joining us this week.
First in the news, members and church leaders had an opportunity to learn more about the life of a Christian steward last weekend during the World Stewardship Online Conference. The conference was live-streamed from the Adventist Church's world headquarters in the U.S. state of Maryland and received nearly 5,000 views from 83 countries. Nearly 2,000 registrations represented individual viewers or larger groups. 15 experts presented 24 seminars that were translated into English, Spanish, French, and Portuguese. The program was a result of a collaborative effort with Hope Channel, the Adventist Stewardship Department, the Adventist Communication Department, and other entities. The event was the first of its kind from the church's headquarters and pioneered a new way of maximizing reach with minimal cost. Eureka Puni shared what he hoped viewers gained during the conference.
For our church members, I would like them to think that their vista, their understanding of stewardship has broadened. I think of a number of emails that have come through where people said, I'm so glad that my church can move beyond finances. So I'm saying that that holistic understanding of stewardship is important, that it's more than tithe and offerings. It's about my whole life. I think beyond that, in terms of personal application, the sense that stewardship is really about me committing my life to Christ or letting Christ take control of me. I think those two things are very important.
Adventist Church Vice President Ben Schoen elaborates on how the conference has opened doors for future ministries from the church's headquarters.
Well, this stewardship conference was an example of something that we have had as a goal for the World Church. We want to use technology more widely and more effectively to fulfill the mission of the church, which is to reach the people in the world for Jesus Christ. And this stewardship conference provided a test of the technology, which I believe proved to work very well, and it tested the techniques on how to conduct a conference online. And the result was that people in 83 countries were able to participate, and we're looking forward to having more of these, such as an online conference for GAIN next February. GAIN stands for Global Adventist Internet Network, where we talk about technology, and other conferences of that kind. So the bottom line is that we want to use technology to bring people around the world into a saving relationship with Jesus Christ.
Church leaders said the terrorist group Boko Haram destroyed an Adventist church in northern Nigeria last month after members fled the area. Stephen Bindas, president of the Northern Nigeria Union Conference, said the Mega Adventist Church in the northeastern state of Borno was burned on Saturday, August 23. The incident happened after the congregation's 67 members left the area to escape Boko Haram's threats. Bindas said the whereabouts of many members are unknown. Some went as far as the city of Jos in the middle of the country and are now staying at the church's headquarters in the region.
The church's top health official commended the World Health Organization for its first comprehensive report on suicide. The Preventing Suicide, a Global Imperative report, offers statistics and action steps for promoting suicide preventions as a higher priority on the global public health agenda. Dr. Peter Landless shares why it's important for the church to understand suicide.
It's so important for the church to understand suicide because the church needs to be a center of hope, a haven of healing, where people are understood, where they can share their problems, where depression is destigmatized and people who feel they've come to the end of their rope are able to come to where we are, where we can extend an embracing arm of healing and help them to realize there is hope. There is hope in fellowship, there is hope in relationship, and importantly, and most importantly, there's hope in Jesus.
A church in the US state of California has opened its doors to serve members of the community affected by wildfires. A fire that began September 13 in the state's northern region has since spread across more than 36,000 hectares or 89,000 acres and is only 35% contained. The Camino Seventh-day Adventist Church is serving as an official Red Cross site by attending to the needs of the community members and pets.
The lower house of Parliament for the Caribbean island nation of Jamaica voted this week to allow workers to take a weekly day of rest. Legislators, however, will delay the implementation of the law for another 3 months to provide education for the public. The Seventh-day Adventist Church in the nation is working with other religious organizations to ensure certain provisions are met with this bill. Nigel Koch shares why Adventists are working to ensure the seventh-day Sabbath will be safeguarded in the legislation.
It has come to our attention that employers are giving some Sabbath keepers, particularly those in the hospitality sector, only a part of their day of worship from Sabbath morning to evening and are asking them to work late on Friday nights, which constitutes part of the Holy Sabbath. We want it to be clear that the Creation Sabbath day should consist of a continuous 24-hour period from sunset Friday evening to sunset Saturday evening as designated by the Holy Scriptures.
More than 180 people met last week in Washington, D.C. to discuss the current state of religious affairs around the world. The Seventh-day Adventist Church co-sponsored the 3rd annual International Religious Freedom Roundtable on Capitol Hill. The attendees included representatives from the U.S. State Department, members of Congress, faith community members, and human rights groups. 3 awards were given to people who have demonstrated a strong commitment for the fight of religious liberty. The honorees included Congressman Frank Wolf, Chair of the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom, Dr. Katrina Lantos Sweat, and Congressman Trent Franks. Dwayne Leslie shared why it was important for the church to sponsor such an event.
One, as we've seen in the news lately, religious freedom is under attack all over the world. In the Middle East, in Nigeria, there's so many things that are happening. And so it's important to let the leaders in Capitol Hill know that not only the Adventist Church, but many other faith groups, many other non-governmental organizations stand together to bring these issues to the forefront. So we were proud to co-sponsor this event to help get this message across.
By the end of 2015, community television broadcasts in Australia will cease airing. Record in Focus shares how this will affect Adventist media ministries in the South Pacific nation.
Christian media ministries, including Record in Focus, are among the organisations affected. Community television is often the only way Christian groups can reach a free-to-air audience. According to the ABC, Communications Minister Malcolm Turnbull said the broadcast spectrum currently used by community TV will be unavailable at the end of 2015. The spectrum will be repurposed or sold off to commercial TV interests.
Citizens of Scotland last week had the opportunity to decide whether they wanted their country to remain in the United Kingdom. The results from the independence referendum in Scotland revealed that 55% of voters wanted to remain in the UK and dismissed the Scottish Nationalist Party's proposal of independence. Pastor Bernie Holford, the president of the Adventist Church in Scotland, released a statement in response to the vote. He thanked God the battle was not fought with violence, even though many are dissatisfied with the result. He said, "Today is the day to demonstrate the unity of our core Christian identity. We stand together as one people and show forgiveness, humility, and kindness to all."
Hope Channel this week appointed a new vice president for programming, production, and broadcast. 36-year-old Gabriel Beagle was selected to provide leadership in the development, production, acquisition, and broadcast of the network's programs. Beagle is originally from Argentina and has a background in ministry, healthcare, and broadcast media. He has extensive experience as a television director for ministries in North and South America. When asked about his vision for the network, Beagle said, "Modern TV is all about stories, and we'll work diligently to make Hope Channel the best storyteller in Christian media."
A pastor who launched the student missions program for the church and served as pastor of 2 of the largest Adventist churches in the United States died last week at the age of 86. William Lovelace partnered with the dean of what is now Washington Adventist University in 1959 to send a student for a 3-month summer stint to Mexico for missionary work. When Loveless pastored Sligo Adventist Church in Maryland, he also organised the Urban Service Corps to tutor inner-city kids struggling in school. Ernest Hernandez shared more on Loveless's lasting impact on the North American Church's Student Missions Program.
Today, we have between 300 and 400, sometimes 500 deployments every year. And so it's great to know that, this great pastor started this great revolution and movement for the North American Division.
Coming up, students learn about health while getting their hands dirty.
It all started in a small upper room with humble, fervent prayer. Threatened by the authorities and banned from preaching, the church prayed, and two men witnessed with great power and grace. And people prayed everywhere, in one accord, in repentance, with confession and humility, and the lives of people were changed. Two men started out on a missionary journey that would turn the world as they knew it upside down. And the message went out to the world beyond. Corporate prayer helped a prisoner escape. A king requested that his people fast and pray, and the enemy was defeated. A battle won without the need to fight. Through a faithful servant and a young queen's faith and courage, a people were saved. Stories in the Bible showing the power of united prayer.
Welcome back, and now more news from our global church community.
Teachers from the Adventist Academy in São Luís, Brazil, are giving their students practical ways to learn about health by providing lessons from a vegetable garden. Novo Tempo sent this report.
Nutritious eating habits are a key element to living a healthy life, and when one learns these life skills early on in life, they're more likely to become habits. With these things in mind, an Adventist school in the Brazilian state of Maranhão has added a class showing students how to tend a garden. Eating healthy meals is the basic building block of a healthy body. A wholesome diet includes fruits, vegetables, legumes, and grains. All these things are provided by God to keep us healthy. Brazil is the third largest producer of fruits in the world. However, children choose to eat industrialized food. Children are fond of cookies, sodas, and ice cream, and the rise in childhood obesity is a clear result of that lifestyle.
Kids don't have the power to choose their food. They can't walk into a grocery store and buy what they want. I think the first step is for parents to make the effort and make a big change. And making these differences is a huge investment for your health, as well as for your kids' health and to your family's health.
In order to instill the love of healthy vegetables onto our children, this Adventist school in Maranhão started a science class that not only teaches them about the biology of plants, but also their nutritional value.
We just finished a lesson that teaches kids about pollination, talking about seeds and how vegetables are grown. With this garden, we can have a hands-on approach to teaching.
The planting of fruits and vegetables here has taught kids a really good lesson that they are taking home with them.
They are encouraging us to start our own gardens at home and to eat healthy foods like the plants we grow here, because there are no pesticides here, and I thought that was very cool.
The kids here follow the development of the vegetables from seed to the end result. And learning all this has made their eating choices better.
Before, my kids didn't eat vegetables. They hated all vegetables. So this project has been very important. My kids even started their own garden at home.
Practical classes, new habits, a fun education that promotes a better life.
This was truly a hands-on experience and I loved it. Bye.
More than 1,000 teachers from the Church's Inter-American region this month were reminded to rely on God and encourage their students to do the same. The teacher, as Minister of the Gospel Conference in Riviera Maya, Mexico, promised to reassure educators of their important leadership role in the lives of their pupils. Israel Leto, the church region's president, challenged teachers during the 4-day conference not only to teach practical life lessons, but also how to grow spiritually through daily scripture readings. Adventist World Church Vice Presidents Lowell Cooper and Ellis Simmons reaffirmed that classrooms were an expansion of the church and reaffirmed the need to rebuild Adventist education in their territory. Conference attendees represented more than 1,000 schools, including 14 universities.
The second largest city in the southeastern European nation of Bosnia and Herzegovina recently received its first retail shop whose profits will go directly to the city's vulnerable citizens. Colorful Wardrobe is a second-hand store located in Banja Luka and was founded by the country's Adventist Development and Relief Agency chapter. The store earned more than $70 during its first 2 hours and saw 15 customers despite heavy rainfall.
What a fantastic idea, Sanjay. They're helping people by selling the second-hand clothes, and then the profits go to the poor.
Exactly. That's a direct link to helping out the community.
It's a good project.
Yeah.
A Seventh-day Adventist student in Botswana was recently given the title of the best agricultural student in the world. Tefo Fanyego was awarded with a certificate from the Cambridge International Examination in the United Kingdom after achieving the highest grade for the Cambridge Agricultural Examination. Fanyego was one out of 9,000 students who took the exam. Fanyego graduated last year from the church's Eastern Gate Academy in northern Botswana.
A short film produced by ADRA Argentina was recently recognized by the Solidarity Shorts International Film Contest. The film, A Secret to Share, was awarded Best Short Film in the documentary category.
Descubriste un secreto. Toch transformahan tot bij toch vites. Moet toch beschikbaar. Bukan jangka amigos. Nyame, kau tidak tenun. Lehwan kanang kau sakta ibnu ya. Lehwan kasang kanang kau sakta ibnu ya. Jadi sakta kanang ungkatir sama. Kanang pulisel tay sakta ibnu. Wan bata ungkawasi na sakta ibnu ya. Ungkawasi na halis kami. Bagaimana kita kaya untuk luhur dekat pastinya. Untuk anak terkontaknya untuk luhur dekat komunitas.
And finally in the news this week, an Adventist musician had a rare opportunity to release an official music video. Naomi Streamer, who was once hailed by Billboard magazine as one of the top vocalists of our time, released the What I Know Now video this week.
I couldn't find my faith, I couldn't keep from falling down, you were the light.
To me, it's one of my favorite songs on the album. It's so special because I believe this message wholeheartedly because it's my story. I think it's all of our stories when we look back. The key being, don't wait to look back. Believe it now. and hold on to the promises now, and have that faith in spite of our doubts and our fears, and just push beyond that to say, you know what, God is in this.
The director of the video, Sarah Asafti, shared what inspired her work.
Naomi's song is this incredible personal perspective on how God led her from the dreams she originally had into a very different yet powerful reality. So as I directed the music video, my goal was to create a tender, engaging storyline to draw the viewer into Naomi's journey from childhood, back when she was dreaming about becoming a big famous star, to her calling as an international Christian singer and songwriter whose life goal is to share Jesus through music. I wanted it to be beautiful, high quality, to visually compete with what's out there so people don't look down on it just because it's poor quality as a Christian production. And I wanted to make it sweet and relatable across generations, because I think everyone has things they wish that they'd known back then.
Still ahead, learn more about podcasts available from Adventist World Radio.
But up next, find out what's in the latest edition of Ministry Magazine.
All day long, I solve problems. It's nuts and bolts and grease. And I love it. But at the end of the day, I think about the world's problems. I wonder why we're all here and how it will end. And I found something that makes sense of it all. Takes the nuts and bolts of history and paints a bigger picture. Now, I have hope.
Welcome back. Derek Moore shares a preview of the current issue of Ministry Magazine.
Do you remember the saying, those who fail to learn from the mistakes of history are doomed to repeat them? Well, I just Googled that and I found about 15 different versions. But the message is clear. We need to learn lessons from history. The Apostle Paul talks about that in Romans chapter 15 and verse 4. He says, for whatever was written in former days was written for our instruction. In the October issue of Ministry, we want to talk about Seventh-day Adventists and the formation of ministerial identity. You say, Derek, that sounds really boring. But actually, it's fascinating to see how ministerial identity developed, and the whole issue of ordination. It was several decades before pastors were actually ordained. 1872, perhaps the date. What does it mean to be ordained? What does it mean to be a Seventh-day Adventist pastor? These are relevant issues in our current discussion. And we'd like to invite you to take a look at the current issue of Ministry. You can go to our website, ministrymagazine.org, and read that lead article by Michael Campbell on Seventh-day Adventists and the development of ministerial identity, but also many other resources that will be a blessing to you. ministrymagazine.org. Be blessed as we continue to grow in Jesus.
For this week's Tech Corner, Daryl Gungadu shares how you can keep up with Adventist World Radio on the go.
Oh, hi. I was just listening to my favorite podcast here on the Adventist World Radio application. This application works on both Android and iOS. You can get it at this address right here. When you open the application, you can see currently what's playing now, but you can also search for your favorite language. We have over 100 languages in the AWR application. So my favorite and my mother tongue is French, so I can search specifically for a French program this way and listen to this program. You can also search for language by region or map of the world. So if you click on map, you can move the map around and let's say click on Japan and you'll see Japanese programs there. So it's a very easy app to navigate and to listen to your favorite native language program brought to you by Adventist World Radio.
Now let's turn to Benjamin Baker for a look at Adventist history. This week, the Caribbean island nation of Barbados receives its first Adventist church.
Welcome to This Week in Adventist History. During this week in 1943, in the midst of World War II, 42 Seventh-day Adventist leaders across the Japanese archipelago were jailed for their adherence to what was perceived as an American religion inimical to the imperial emperor's reign. In fact, earlier that year, the church in Japan had been dissolved and most of the foreign missionaries had vacated the country. But one of the women imprisoned had a faith stronger than cell bars. Not seen as a threat because she was diminutive and blind, Eiko Araki was set free after she was interrogated and proceeded to shepherd the 40 members of her church in the port town of Kagoshima through the chaotic and turbulent remaining years of the war. And even when some of the Adventist ministers died in prison, Araki's church did not miss one Sabbath service, and when the smoke cleared, her flock was intact, not one missing. On September 21 in 1891, the first Adventist church in Barbados was established. The Adventist message arrived on this island in the Southern Caribbean the same way it had in so many other nations across the globe, by literature. In the early 1880s, a woman named Anna Elaine learned about the faith from reading issues of the Signs of the Times sent to her by her sister, who lived in Guyana at the time. Elaine shared her newfound hope with others. Later, Joseph Brathwaite, an intrepid lay evangelist, organized a group of believers on the island despite being jailed for witnessing, like Eiko Araki. In November 1890, Dexter Ball, the first Adventist minister, arrived in Barbados. The next year, he held evangelistic meetings in the capital, Bridgetown, and from this and the previous efforts, the Bridgetown Seventh-day Adventist Church was founded. That's This Week in Adventist History.
Thanks for watching ANN. Join us next week for more news from the headquarters of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
In the meantime, join our global conversation on Facebook and Twitter. You can connect with other Adventists worldwide and find links to more stories, photos and videos. Visit Facebook/Adventist News or Twitter/Adventist Church.
Our good news for this week comes from Isaiah chapter 46, verse 4. The passage says, "I will be your God throughout your lifetime, until your hair is white with age. I made you, and I will care for you. I will carry you along and save you."
That's our program for this week, and remember you can always visit news.adventist.org for daily news and videos. Until next time, God bless.
Take care.